What's up, people of YouTube? I'm Karsatowski and welcome back to the Karsatowski Bowling YouTube channel. So in today's PBA bowling breakdown, we are going to be taking a look at the title match of the 1986 True Value Open. So let's get on to it. Alright, this is the title match of the 1986 True Value Open versus, featuring Steve Cook versus Walter Ray Williams Jr. Steve Cook is, I'd say probably one of the best ways to describe Steve Cook is like a left-handed version of Wes Malott.
In Venice, Florida.
He's a pretty tall player, 6'7". Wes Malott, I believe, is right around 6'4". They're both quite heavy players, but they both have pretty decent knee bend. Well, Steve Cook has a bit more knee bend than Wes Malott, and Wes Malott tends to have a little bit more spine tilt than Steve Cook, but they both get their bowling balls to the foul line really well, and they are both PBA Hall of Famers. Steve Cook has made the list of the 50 greatest bowlers of all time, and so is this man, Walter Ray Williams Jr.
Look at his average.
And he honestly still had the mustache even back then. He went to the beard for a few years, especially in the early 2000s. And his game is actually very similar to what it will be throughout his career, even at this time.
27 strikes.
Walter Ray is another taller player, about 6'3", 6'4". The only thing that I can see that's a little bit different in his game compared to what it has been over the last several years is his follow-through, especially on that, at least on that first shot. His follow-through now is, he kind of pops up a little bit more now, but in that time it looks like he would go a little bit forward. And that is a mix-em-up strike right there. If that ball would have deflected any more, he could have left a nasty split. But it's a double for Walter Ray in the title match. Bit high for Steve Cook.
The line of Steve Cook. He's pointing around the second arrow, sends it out to approximately the third or fourth board. And at this position, he wants the ball to hold or kind of set in that 1-2 pocket, not to be. Cuts through the middle, leaves the 2-4 spare.
Now that is actually a very choppable spare. But he picks it up nicely.
Open with a double. 27,000 to the winner. 14,000 to the man.
Yeah, I mentioned it before, but bowlers back in that time not only had 1 or 2 bowling balls, but for the most part they only had 1 towel. And they would use it not only to wipe off their bowling balls, but pretty much for anything. They'd wipe their mouths, foreheads if they were sweaty, their shoes, pretty much anything. Me, on the other hand, I've got like a bunch of towels that each one of them do a specific thing. Like I'll have a chamois that wipes off the oil off my bowling ball. I'll have one specific towel to kind of be like a buffer for when I put cleaner on my equipment after when I'm done with bowling for the day. And I'll use another towel for like my forehead, especially during the summertime, as I sweat quite a bit when I bowl. And yeah, I've got a bunch of towels for all different kinds of reasons. And that is an opening turkey for Walter Ray. Steve Cook struck in the third frame, but it's still early in the game.
Championship round. He had a 1-6 record for his career coming into
now, Walter Ray actually started off as a horseshoe pitcher before he started bowling. So his bowling game Oh, that's a ham bone to start off for Walter Ray in this match. So Walter Ray's game in bowling is very reminiscent and pretty much taken from his game in horseshoe pitching. And a lot of you, actually none of you know this, but I also play cornhole as well. So I get some of my cornhole approach is kind of similar to my bowling game, except that I don't use two hands when I play cornhole, but the finish position is actually kind of similar for my cornhole game.
6 feet 7 inches tall, 260 pounds, trailed by 32 pins.
So sports like that where you throw something underhanded can really help with bowling and vice versa. Oh, he went high again on that lane. So he'll definitely need to figure out that right lane. Second time that he went high.
The left-handers have had trouble today. The last time we had left-handers in the first, second, third positions was 1984, the Firestone Tournament champions, Mike Irvin, three lefties averaging 240. And you can remember the great George Pappas, who, by the way, just returned to action this week after a wrist operation, taking the measure of three lefties in the King Louis in the mid-1970s.
Yeah, George Pappas finishing 73rd, following for the period. Dick Weber 93rd, went 91st. Johnny Petraglia is 60th.
Now, the equipment they're using for strike balls is urethane equipment.
Of both 84 and 85 here at Landmark.
This was a few years before reactive, and a lot of players pretty much only had 1 or 2 urethane bowling balls. Some players would still opt to use plastic balls for spare shots, but for the most part, most every player was using reactive equipment. And look at those red ball returns. Oh, that's such a great shot to leave a solid 7.
Where each of the 8 tournaments has been won by a different professional. Cook could be the only one to...
Look at this ball. It's getting into hook phase and now the roll phase, and as you can see, it deflects just a little bit too much. When the ball gets in that spot, which that would be a little bit left of the 8-pin spot, that means the ball is deflecting just a little bit too much.
What speed covering that 7-pin.
Cover that nicely. Well, he's staying clean, but unfortunately for him, his opponent is perfect a third of the way through the match. So if Walter Ray can keep striking, he's obviously going to win. But Walter Ray also needs to make sure that he fills frames so he doesn't get behind. Oh, that is perfect. Absolutely perfect. So that is a Yahtzee for Walter Ray. As you can see, that ball gets over to the spot and then starts to roll and hook nicely up to the pocket. That is textbook for using urethane. And to be honest, that is not too dissimilar to how players use urethane today. Kind of go pretty much around the track area to play urethane equipment. The track area is pretty much around the second and third arrows normally. That's where a lot of league players stay most of the time. And that ball just went too high. He may have just yanked on that one a bit too much. And like I said before, he's going to have to fill some frames, and it looks like he's going to have his first open. But he does have a sizable lead now to where this should not hurt him if he gets a good count. And he went for the count. So he's still going to be up by a pretty good amount. But if Steve Cook can get a double, then he could decrease Walter Ray's lead by 18, which will do some damage. But Steve Cook will really still need to get about a turkey and a ham bone to really catch up to Walter Ray.
180 miles south of Peoria.
Oh man. That time looks like he ended up getting it a bit further left, and it just skated. Kind of fortunate to only leave the 9. His ball went high twice on that right lane before, and he made a pretty big move, and the ball just didn't hook enough.
Slam the ball in the pocket. You can't read the lanes. You can't fiddle around for 2 more lanes.
And that right there is also pretty telling of what your strike ball will be. And looks like that if he was going to go for strike ball, that frame, it would have went high again. So he'll need to go somewhere around the middle of what he's done in the first shot of the 7th frame, or 6th frame, I should say, in the spare shot.
Giving a few words to Jill, who's asking, how's Daddy doing?
Which again, back in this time, most players didn't make that big of moves.
Work hard these last 4 frames to make an additional.
So I don't exactly know what his move is going to be on that right lane. Oh my goodness. What?
I think that's what Steve Cook's saying.
He may have just lost it off his hand.
Look on his face as he leaves the 1,
Goodness.
4, 6.
Look at that ball. That is actually kind of skilled to do something like that.
Drive it over into the 4-7 area and to convert the split.
I've seen people get the ball right in between that washout before.
A must situation.
And it is not easy to do, but Steve Cook doesn't want to do that. Oh, just caught too much of the head pin. Yeah, that. Now, Walter Ray's split that he had before does not seem like it hurt him that much at all. Okay, I think it skipped some of this. Let's see. Yeah, I think it skipped Walter Ray's shots. Oh my goodness. The Greek church. Man, I don't see the left-handed version of the Greek church very often. We just go for count. Okay, well, that is just about going to do it for Steve Cook. Oh, Walter Ray left another open frame.
127 to 169.
Okay, so I guess I didn't miss too much then. But Steve Cook is still down by a lot. He could have gained some ground a little bit if he would have struck in the 8th frame, because then he could have gotten the double in the 9th frame and only be down by 32. I should say only be down by 32, but that's not going to make too much difference. Oh, look at that. Messenger. Yeah, he needed a lot more of those, especially on that right lane. But at this point, though, Walter Ray really only needs to close frames at this point. If he closes out the 9th and 10th frames, he's going to win his first PBA Tour title. It's a nice mixer strike, and that is just about going to do it.
And with that shot, Walter Ray, you can see the gleam in his eyes.
It is actually kind of remarkable, though, on the fact that Walter Ray has basically done just about the same thing on TV from winning his first title until his 47th title in 2010. And what I mean by that is he's basically made a career of bowling on TV playing straight, just like that. And that is back-to-back light mixers for his first title. Yeah, a lot of players, you know, winning their first titles in the 70s and 80s, and then you go into the 2000s, they're playing the lanes completely different. But Walter Ray, really one of the only players who's pretty much played a similar line throughout his career, and it doesn't even matter at that point. Yep. Walter Ray's first title in 1986, and if I'm not mistaken, that was his first of 7 Player of the Years. What a season. Winning your first title and then going on to winning Player of the Year that year. I bet he didn't have that on his list of things to accomplish the year that he won his first title. That is actually pretty incredible right there.
And Steve just going through the motions. Best he can bowl is 167.
And Steve Cook has about 15 titles to his name, and I don't think that in that moment Steve Cook would have ever imagined that Walter Ray would go from winning his first title against Steve Cook to end up having more than 3 times as many titles as Steve Cook. I don't think that he would have ever imagined that. because Earl Anthony had the most titles at that point, and he technically had 41, but for some reason they didn't count the USBC Masters at that time, so he would end up having 43. But yeah, I don't think at that point anybody would have expected Walter Ray to have anywhere close to the titles he has now. And there you go, trip out that 6-pin, which is the right-hander's version of a 4-pin trip. And there you have it. Fairly low-scoring match overall, but Walter Ray was able to get enough consecutive strikes there to pull off a win. And that is Walter Ray Williams Jr.'s first of a career high of 47 PBA Tour titles. And that is his first of many PBA trophies.
86, ABC will be covering the 500 live. We covered this live.
Yeah, there you go. Walter Ray obviously has the most titles, not only on the PBA National Tour at 47, but he also has, I think, 50 on the Regional Tour, and he has 16 on the PBA 50 Tour, and he's got a pretty good amount on the PBA 50 Regional Tour. I think he has like 6 or 8 or something like that on that tour. But this is where it all started. This is the first tournament that basically got Walter Ray to where he is today, and it's pretty cool to see, I gotta say. It's really hard to imagine Walter Ray having anything less than like 30 titles, but as you can see, not only did he win his first title in 86, but also he would win his first Player of the Year, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, for some reason I want to say 87, but I think it was 86 when he won his first Player of the Year. Yeah, anyway guys, so if you all enjoy these kind of videos and you want to see any more, then be sure you go down and hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any videos. I'm Karsatowski. Keep watching my content and I'll see you in that next video. See ya!